Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad you could join us this week. I am Dr. Mary Cook. I've been with you all along. If you've been with us for some of our previous webinars about ACT, today it's just me. We don't have any of our guest speakers with us, and we are going to be going over some of the pretest items that you will need to complete prior to taking the ACT. The good news is none of these will impact your score, and there are no wrong answers to any of these. So that is one of the good things about what we're going to go over. I'm going to get set up with the PowerPoint that goes through all of the content, and we will get started. And just so you know, when I'm doing this, it's a little tricky to see the chat, but do go ahead and enter your questions in the chat if you have any. And I will, if I can't see it right away, I definitely will get to your questions eventually. And after that, you know, if it's at the end, just kind of bear with me. Like I said, I'm doing this on my own today, so it might take me a minute or so to get there. But I promise I will get there. So here we go. So again, Dr. Mary Cook presenting to you this afternoon about the required pretest items. These are going to be things that you can do depending upon how your school is going to handle this, either at school or at home. So get to my screen here. All right, so for today, we are going to, hang on, I am doing one more thing so I can see you guys, because right now I can't. That's not what I want. Wow, that really wasn't what I wanted. Sorry about that. So, okay, I will get to your questions at the very end. I absolutely cannot see you guys, so just trust me, I will get to your questions. So today we're going to become familiar with the tasks that you need to complete prior to taking the ACT. You need to know what information and what documents to have with you as you do this so that you can enter the information correctly and accurately, and also understand how the information is being used. And so I don't know if you want to take notes or anything, or if this is going to make you familiar with what's going to be asked. Either way is fine, but just know that you're going to need to do this. And when you do this, make yourself comfortable. It does take a minute or two to get through it all. So first, you're going to end up with one of these white documents here, this document right here, and it is going to have some really important information for you, particularly in this top. It's in the top right corner right here, but here I blew it up right here. It's going to have your name on it, your first and last name, date of birth, but this student code right here, this is what you're going to need, and I'll show you where you're going to need it in just a minute. But don't lose this, because it goes through step by step exactly what website to go to, what steps to follow to get through all of the steps that you need to do, and what information you're going to need to enter. Like I said, you are going to have up to 2 days after you take the ACT to complete this information and to change it. If you complete it and you get to thinking about it later and you go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't want to say that this way, you can go in and change it later on. So you are going to create a MyACT account. If you haven't done that already, you need to do that. And you don't need to wait for the white paper that you will get at school for that. You can just go to my.act.org and create that account now. And it's a good idea too, because once you get that account created, there's actually some stuff in there that you can do, like inventories, and there's a free practice ACT straight from ACT that you can do. So creating that account now would be a good idea, and I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like in case you haven't done it before. First, to get there, so myact.org, and if you haven't done it, you're going to click this button that says create MyACT account. And when you do that, you're going to get to this screen right here, and it says enter your name as it appears on your photo ID. Basically, what you need to do is use your legal first and last name. So if your first name is William, your legal first name is William, but you go by Bill or Billy, this is not the time to use Bill or Billy. This is the time to use William. So whatever your legal name is, use that and use it consistently. That way all of your records will match. You'll know exactly what to do. Anytime you use a name, use your name for something that's official, like an ACT account or like your college applications or scholarship applications, use your legal name so that everything will tie together nice and seamlessly. So again, use your legal name when you're creating this account. You will also want to use your birth date, your accurate birth date, and ACT will use that to link multiple scores. So if you take the ACT more than once, they're not going to try to match your name, because if you are William Anderson, do you have any idea how many William Andersons there are in the United States? So they're going to use an ACT ID and your birth date to make sure that they are linking scores for the correct student, to make sure that all of your information goes under your umbrella and it doesn't get mixed in with other students. So make sure you enter your birth date as well. And also there are some data laws out there that ACT wants to make sure they follow, and they change when you turn 13. Now, all of you are older than 13, or at least most of you are. There may be some of you that aren't yet, but that birth date helps guide ACT as to which data laws they have to use depending upon the age of the person using the platform. So make sure you do enter your birth date. For your email address, where it asks for email address, please create a professional email address. Do not use your school email address, because once you graduate, your school email address goes away. So create a professional email address that you will use not only for ACT, but use it for your college applications, use it for scholarship applications, use it for job applications, but something that's professional, something that will present you in an email format as someone who's going to take, whatever it is you're using it for seriously, that you're going to present yourself as a professional. So if you don't have one now, if you have a fun one, you can have a fun one. There's no problem with that, that you use with your friends, you use with your family, or when you're goofing around or whatever, that's fine. But have a separate one that's more business appropriate, and use that for your ACT account. And if you enter your mobile phone number, if you have a mobile phone and you enter your mobile phone number here, they're going to use that to verify your account. So once you create it and you click verify, they'll send you a code or something like that. And you may have experienced this already. And once you get that code, they'll tell you where to enter it, and they'll say, okay, yeah, that really is you. And a lot of places are going to what's called two-step verification. So when you log in, they'll send a code to your mobile phone and you have to enter it just to make sure that the person who's logging in really is the person who should be accessing the information there. So just know that. Your password, once you get to the point of creating your password, it needs to be 8 or more letters and include uppercase and lowercase, so capital letters and small letters, and a special character. So, an exclamation point or a dollar sign or a hashtag or something like that, at least one in there. And that just makes it harder for, people who want to break into your account, guess what your password is. So you just need to make sure that you follow those guidelines. And if you can't remember that, this little blue eye here, if you click on that, it'll tell you what the guidelines are for creating your password. Then go through and read the terms and conditions. It's basically the same types of terms and conditions you see anytime you create an account. And once you read that, click the box, say, yes, I understand what that is. And then you can verify by text or verify by email. And whichever you click is how they will send a message to verify that, yes, it really is you and the information was entered correctly. So that's the first part of getting your MyACT account set up. So you can go ahead and get that started. And then once you get it verified, once you get those messages and you click everything and it says, yes, that's really you, you will get to this welcome screen. And then it's going to ask you to enter some more information. So it's going to ask you, obviously you're a student, and then it's going to ask your high school information. So your country, your high school is in the United States. So, and I believe it defaults to United States. So you don't have to scroll. You might have to scroll, but I think it defaults to United States. And then you're going to search for your school. So search by city and state or search by zip code. If you know the zip code of your school, you could do that. If you don't, you can search by city and state. So in this sample, this is a sample one. This person happened to go to high school in Iowa, state of Iowa, in the city of Iowa City. And then once you get those entered, it will automatically generate a drop-down list of all the high schools that fall within that particular state and city, and you just scroll through it until you find your high school, and you just click on that. And then here it will give you a drop-down box of different high school graduation years, and so you will just scroll through and pick your graduation year. And so for most of you who are juniors, that would be 2023. So again, I wish I could see chat to see if there are any questions, but I can't, so I'm just going to keep on going. If you do have a question, just mark down kind of, you were talking about this and I had a question about that, and we'll come back to it. So now this is where that code comes in, off from that document that you're going to get at school. So once you get set up, you're going to see this box right here. You can't really read what it says. This is already testing at your something for school day testing, already registered or signed up, something like that. You're going to click this box right here that says enter student code. And once you do that, you're going to get this pop-up box right here. And this is where you're going to enter that student code. Where do you find it? On that white document. And it's this number right here. So for this student, it will be the 12568-9579. So you will enter that code, and that will just kind of start connecting you to your school and say it's school day testing. And it will open up a whole series of other questions that you're going to need to answer. And that's what we're going to go through, because some of them are going to be a little unusual, a little challenging to answer, just because there's some unique things that go on in our lives in general. And that's why I want to walk through this with you. So first, it's going to ask what's called demographic information. This is just general information about you as a human being person. So first, it's going to say who, if anyone, is helping you register to take the ACT. If you're doing this on your own, you click I am registering myself. If you have a parent or legal guardian helping you, you click that one. If a counselor, teacher, or other school staff is helping you, click that one. Or if someone is helping you that isn't one of these people, click that one. So whichever applies to you, you click that one. Then it's going to ask your gender, and you can see there's 4 different options here: male, female, another, or prefer not to respond. Pick whichever box best fits you, best describes you and your situation. And then also the next one, indicate if you are of Hispanic or Latino background. Again, yes, no, or prefer not to respond. None of these questions is going to, bucket you any particular direction. It's just a snapshot of who you are. And if you don't want to provide that snapshot, that's why they give you that box that says prefer not to respond, and that's just fine as well. And there's actually a scroll bar. This is still a continuation of this page, so there's a little scroll bar over here on the right side. So you scroll down, it says, what is your best language? What is the language that is the most comfortable for you to communicate in? What is the one where you're the strongest? Is it English, another language, English and another language? Are you bilingual or multilingual and equally comfortable in both of those languages? Or again, prefer not to respond. What is your first language? Meaning, what is the language you learn to speak and read first? It's not always English, but sometimes it is English. So again, English and other, or prefer not to respond. Again, whatever it is that you are most comfortable responding is the choice that you should make. Do you receive English language services? So this is primarily for students who English is not their first language, but they're receiving support and services to help them develop the language skills to be able to navigate things like signing up for the ACT and being able to manage all the different things that we have in our world that is primarily English-based. They get some support to help them get to the point where they can navigate those things successfully on their own. But if you receive EL services and you want to let ACT, and I'll tell you who else would get that information, let them know that, you can click yes. If you don't receive EL services, if that isn't you, if you're not in that program, either because English is your first language or you're just not receiving those services, you can mark no. Or if you don't want to let people know one way or another, that's fine as well. You would mark I prefer not to respond. Again, fine answer. In what year do you most recently receive EL services? Again, that's if you got them, or not applicable. If that's not you, if you're not receiving them, then it's not applicable, or I prefer not to respond. Okay, this next one is about your parent or legal guardian. It's asking about their education level. So why? There's some statistical, studies that go forth, and it's just one of those pieces of data that is sometimes used, not about you as an individual, but in a more global thing. Students whose parents have this level of education tend to do this and that, but it never comes back to you as an individual student in those studies. But I will tell you where it does show up. So this is where you need to decide how you want to respond. So your parent or guardian one, you decide which one is one if you're with both parents, and it will give you different levels of education choices. So this is where you may want to find out and talk with your parents and see if they even want you to respond to this. Totally up to you. This is not going to lock you out of being able to take the test. So again, have a conversation and have your parents help you make this decision. But you can decide which is parent guardian one and which is parent guardian number two, and then answer accordingly. Once you get through those, this is where I'm going to tell you about one of the two places that this information gets used. So Educational Opportunity Service. What this is there are a set of companies and organizations and governmental agencies and such that will work with ACT and send out their information to students and their families using a database that ACT gets. And you can decide whether you want your information to be released to these companies to get their products and information about their products and their services. And it's going to be things like different colleges use this. So colleges can say, hey, can you send us a mailing list and contact list of students who, have these different characteristics? Or scholarship opportunities, or government agencies that want to provide support, or people that have different types of financial aid packages and such. So these are all organizations that are going to go to ACT and say, anybody who said yes to this Educational Opportunity Service, can we get the mailing list or the contact list or their email list? And we want to send them information about what we have to offer that may be helpful to them. So they will get things like your name, your address, your gender, your birth, your email address, phone number, anything that you enter here, they may get to use to contact you. Is it good or bad? That's up to you. This is another one of those conversations that you want to have with your parents about whether they want you to say yes or no. You are not entering your social security number in here anywhere, so you do not need to worry about them getting that. That is not an item that they are going to ask you for. I'm going to tell you, when I was a student, yes, it was 150,000 years ago, but when I was a student, I said yes on this side. And the information, when it started coming in, it was really kind of cool. It was exciting. You got to see all kinds of different things from all these different colleges and all these different programs all over the country. But then eventually it started getting to be overwhelming, and I just wanted it to stop. However, it was also a way I got to learn about things that I didn't know about, that I didn't know existed. So there's kind of a good thing, bad thing about it. And that's why you need to make the decision for yourself. There is no right or wrong answer here. It's just a matter of, do you want to hear from these organizations, or do you not want to hear from the organizations? You decide, and then you mark yes or no. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, what are you the most comfortable with, and what do you want to do? All right, now we're going to get into your high school resume. So this is where you're going to want your high school transcript that covers all of your grades for all the years that you were in high school. And also you need to have some knowledge about the school itself. So what kind of high school did you attend? Public, private? I believe charter is one of the options that is a drop down as well. So that's the very first question out of the box about your school, is what type of school is it? If you're in one of our more typical metro schools, like John Overton, Hillsborough, Whites Creek, Antioch, one of those, that's a public school. You may be at one of our charter schools, and we have multiple charters around, so you pick charter school. And I know we've had some private school students tuning in as well. There is a private school drop down as well, so you would pick private school. Which of the following best describes the program of high school courses you are taking or took? There's a drop-down box and it'll give you a set of options like college prep or trade technical or something like that. So you look at the options and you pick the one that describes you the best. I'm going to tell you, I cannot get into this site, so I couldn't click on all of the drop-downs and see exactly what all the options are. So some of this you're going to have to learn as you do it and as you go. How many students are or were in your high school graduating class? So that means how many juniors are going to school with you right now at your school. So you're going to want to know that number. And if you're doing this at school in a group, they'll have that information. They'll be able to tell you. Which of the following is closest to your high school rank? Metro Schools does not rank students. Other than identifying the valedictorian and salutatorian way towards the end of your senior year, they don't rank students. And so I don't know if this drop-down has an option for does not rank. If it does, choose that because Metro does not rank. If not, you can just kind of estimate, take a guess. It can be just a random wild guess if you want to. But in general, if you have a really strong GPA, you've been doing really well in your classes, you're going to be closer to the top part of your class. If you've had some challenges in high school and your GPA isn't quite what you want it to be, then it might be a little bit kind of in the middle or on the lower side. Take an estimate. This is not going to impact whether you get into college or not, okay? There are other documents the colleges are going to use, so take your best estimate. Do not sweat this, okay? This is not going to impact your future. What is your current grade in school? Most of you are going to be 11th grade, so you pick 11th grade. What is your high school GPA? This will be on your transcript, so you can pick the window. You can see this one has a 3.0 to 3.4. Pick the one that best aligns to what's listed on your transcript. This is an informational page, but there's three things I want to point out. So we're going to get into the subjects in a minute, and there's going to be some choices that you get to make. One about the subject or the grade level subject is that you are currently taking the course or that you took it in the past. So that's going to be a choice. One is will take, meaning you will take it in the future. You haven't taken it yet, but you're going to do it in the future. And then the third one is will or won't take. You're not going to take it at all. You know it exists, or maybe it doesn't even exist in your school, but you're not going to take it. So those are going to be some choices. You're going to see how that plays out when we get into the next slide here. And it's also going to ask about grades, and this is why you want your transcript. So let's dive into English. So English is the first subject that we're going to talk about here. And so you can see it has a box for each one of your grade levels, 9th through 12th. And you're going to start out with exactly those boxes we were just talking about. So I'm going to assume most of you are juniors. So this is one is talking about 9th grade English. You have already taken 9th grade English. So you're going to click this box that says took or taking. Hopefully you are not taking 9th grade English as a junior, but you did take it in the past. And then it asks for your grade. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. If you look at your transcript for 9th grade English, you have a first semester grade and a second semester grade, but this ACT platform only asks for one grade. So what do? My suggestion is that you average the two. So say you got an A one semester, you got a C another semester, those two will average to a B, so you would click a B. What do you do if you got an A and a B? Those average to an A minus, B plus. Pick A or B. If I were you, I'd pick an A. If you're averaging that close, pick the A. But do know colleges are not going to use what you click here for their admissions decisions. Once you get to applying to college, they're actually going to look at your official transcript. So on this page, click close to what you have. Don't go, if you got C's, be honest, tell them you got C's. It's not going to kill you. But don't sweat it if you have to do one of those. It doesn't average to either one of those. Pick the one that it's the closest to, okay? And then you'll do the same thing for 10th grade, for 11th grade, 12th grade. If you did other English courses, say there was an English elective class of some sort that you took, you can enter your grades for that here. And then where it says English years of study by graduation, that means by the time you graduate, how many years of English will you take? If you go to school in a public high school in the state of Tennessee, you better circle 4, because if you don't take and pass 4 years of English in a public school in Tennessee, you are not getting a high school diploma. You must circle 4. You have to get 4 credits in English to get a high school diploma. And I did not get a screen grab on this. I think there's a scroll bar. I believe that there is a box, and you'll see the box on the other subjects, that asks if you took advanced coursework, meaning like AP, IB, or Cambridge, or honors classes. If you did honors, AP, IB, or Cambridge at any of your English classes, you would click that box to indicate you did advanced coursework there. You'll see this on the math slide. So speaking of math, here we go. This is the one that is probably the trickiest, because if you look at the subjects that are listed there in math, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, Trigonometry, and Calculus, and you go to one of our zoned high schools, and meaning, you know, actually I think that's also in our magnet schools, we don't have Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, and Trigonometry. We have Integrated Math 1, Integrated Math 2, 3, and 4. So what do? So I asked ACT about it, and they said, oh, see right here, it says alternate math course titles, click that, and they'll see the options there. So I asked them to send me a screenshot of what that looks like when you click that. And it was not helpful, because what they sent me, what I can remember off the top of my head, was the alternate courses for geometry. They said, here's the alternate is Euclidean geometry, solid geometry, geometry in a plane. All it said was different ways to say geometry. It did not say integrated math anywhere. So don't do this. Don't click the alternate math course title. It's not going to help you. So here's what I'm going to suggest. For your integrated math 1, enter your grades under Algebra 1. It is not the perfect alignment. It is as close as we can get at this time. I am talking, not that I have this kind of power, but I am working with ACT to try to get an option for future classes to be able to use integrated math sequencing, but we don't have it yet. So integrated math 1, use your Algebra 1 section. For integrated math 2, use geometry. That is the typical sequence of classes. You do Algebra 1, then you do geometry, then Algebra 2 after that. I know it doesn't make any sense, but that's how it goes. Integrated 3 should go with Algebra 2. And then integrated 4 should go with trigonometry. These are only if you took them in high school. So if you started integrated 1 in 8th grade, you don't need to worry about that. You can just start with the integrated 2 sequence and put that with your geometry. So that's how I'm suggesting that you line these up, since we do not have the option for integrated 1 through 4 in this platform. If you're in AP Calc, AB, BC, either one of those, you can use that. If you're doing an IB math sequence, you can, or Cambridge math sequence, you can use the calculus section if you feel like that fits the best as well. There's also this other math beyond Algebra 2. So if you look at that lineup, this would be other math beyond integrated math 3. So we just going to have to work with what's there and make it fit for our purposes here in Metro. So kind of go with the flow, just make it work. This one I did scroll down. They also have an option for computer math and computer science. So if you are doing an AP computer science class, you can enter your grades here. Here's that box I was talking about where it says Math AP Accelerated or Honors. This includes Cambridge and IB classes, so you would click that if you did accelerated level math at any level. It doesn't have to be just Cambridge, IB, Honors, or AP, so at any point if you did advanced coursework. For math, how many years of math do you need to study to get your high school diploma? That's what you need to enter here. I am a math major, so it kills me when I hear people say they do not like math and they just don't want to do it. But I will also accept that not everybody is a math person. However, if you want a high school diploma in the state of Tennessee at a public high school, you will be taking and passing 4 years of math. So make sure you click on that 4+. Okay, so that's math. Math is the trickiest one out of all of these. So next, science. So science. First, biology. Everybody has to take and pass biology. So you might as well do your biology. So took or taking, click that. And most people did it in either 9th or 10th grade, and then your grade. Chemistry and physics, you must take in the state of Tennessee one or the other. You can do both. Doing both is just fine, but you must do one or the other at a minimum to get your high school diploma. So again, a lot of juniors are taking chemistry currently, so that would be this box. If you are currently in the class, the only grade you need to click is the one you got for first semester because you don't have your second semester grade. If you did it in the past, you're back to that averaging conversation we had earlier. Physics, if you think you're going to be taking physics in the future, you haven't done it, you can click will take, and then there's that no grade option because you haven't gotten a grade yet. If you're going to do both or you have done both, you can do that. This physical earth or general science, this is usually more of a very broad general physics. We used to have a class called physical science. So this is not physics. This is physics. This is not physics. So if you had space science or something like that, maybe at a different school outside of Metro, that's an option. And then here's this box again to indicate if you took accelerated AP, IB, Cambridge, or honors level science classes. Again, for science, minimum number of years to get a high school diploma in Tennessee is 3 years of science. Many of you are taking more than that, so you are welcome to click on the 3.5 or 4+, but the smallest number you should click is 3 if you want to graduate with a high school diploma. If you don't want a high school diploma, there's a different conversation we need to have, but I suspect many of you want a high school diploma, and I know all of your parents or guardians want you to have a high school diploma, so click the 3. All right, social studies. Social studies, we have lots of options in here. Many of them are required. So the first one that you probably did was some form of world history. Now I want to talk about this because if you look on your transcript, it probably says world history and geography. And then your U.S. history probably says U.S. history and geography. It's because we combine those within the one course, so you're getting both. But if you notice, there's also this geography box. So what do? I'm saying just stick with the world history. Use this geography option only if you took a class that is specifically looking at geography. An example would be AP Human Geography. If you took AP Human Geography, I would use the geography box for that. It counts as your world history, world civilizations credit for graduation, but it is literally human geography. So it's fine to use the geography box for that. So you took this for 1 year, click the appropriate boxes for your grade and that you took. U.S. history, American history, you need 1 year of that to graduate. Some of you are doing this in the form of History of the Americas if you're in an IB program or the Cambridge equivalent. I'm not as familiar with the Cambridge program. I used to work at an IB school. That's why I know that one. I have not worked at a Cambridge school. I'm not as familiar with the titles of their courses. But you're probably doing that now. It's a typical junior course. So you have that. That's 2 years of history. Then your senior year, you're going to do U.S. government for 1 semester or the equivalent, the Cambridge IB equivalent of that. And then you'll do 1 semester of economics or the Cambridge or IB equivalent of economics as well. Those are both 1 semester classes. So right here within this represents 3 years of social studies. So 1 here, and then each of these is a half. So that's 3 years of social studies. Technically, personal finance falls under social studies as well, even though it's really not a history class, but you can count it as other history. I don't have a problem with that, even though it's not really history. So, but you decide how you want to deal with that. If you're taking a psychology class, either a general psychology or AP psychology, you can indicate that here. For number of years of study, the minimum is 3 because 3 is the graduation requirement. But if you're doing some of these others, you can click the 3.5 or 4. If you're going to count personal finance as a social studies, then 3.5 should be your minimum. Again, that one's kind of flexible. You can go either way. And once again, here's the box to click if you're doing this at an advanced or accelerated coursework. This is going to be a lot of me talking. All right, now we're getting into world languages. And I put foreign languages in there because I know that term is lingering out there, but really the appropriate term is world languages. So they pre-populate Spanish, French, and German. Those are the most typical languages taught in American high schools. But you may be doing a different language. I know Chinese is coming into be popular, being taught in U.S. high schools, and Japanese, and there are some other languages, and some schools are considering American Sign Language as one of the world languages as well. So any of those can be considered in this category, so that they start with these three. This is where you may use that won't take button as an option. So when I was in high school, I took German. So I would be clicking this. Now, if you notice, they only give you one. They don't say German 1 and German 2. They just say German. And if you did it for 2 years minimum, that means you have 4 grades. And so now we're back to that averaging thing and just picking out the grade that kind of correlates to the general way that you performed over those 4 semesters. So you figure out the one that best represents you, and then you click whichever box is the correct number of years that you took it. So for me, I did German for 2 years, so I would click the 2. Some of you are doing French or Spanish for multiple years because you just fell in love with the language and it fit in your schedule, and you may be doing it for all 4 years of your high school career, so you click the 4. If you're doing one of those other languages we were talking about, or even one that I didn't list, you can use this other languages box and click that you either are taking it or you've taken it already and what your grades are and how many years. Again, the box for accelerated studies. But for me, I would go through French, won't take. I would click won't take. Spanish, I didn't take that. Well, that was not a smart decision on my part. I should have taken some Spanish. Just a heads up, that would have been a good idea. But I didn't, so I would click won't take there. And then other languages, I didn't take any other language, so I would click won't take on that. So this one's going to be a little bit of work to really indicate which language you did take and which ones you did not take. And for your graduation requirement, you must have at least 2 years in the same language if you want that high school diploma. All right, we're getting there. So into visual and performing arts, this one doesn't ask for nearly as much detail. They just want to know, did you take it? Are you taking it? Or will you not take it? And that is it. They're not asking grades. They're not even asking how many years. So I was in band. I played clarinet. I loved being in band. It was marching band, and it was just fabulous. It was a great time. So I would have clicked took or taking. I did it all 4 years. So that would have been me. Art, I did not take any art, so I would have clicked won't take, just like it's here. But some of you are amazing artists. I've seen some of the work that's going on out there. So either will take if you're going to do it in the future, or took or taking if you're doing it currently. Drama and theater, oh man, we have theater programs out there in Metro. You guys are incredibly talented. So again, if you did theater, click whichever one is appropriate to you. And again, no years, no grades on this one. You must have at least one to get your high school diploma though. All right, now this is just extracurricular. This is no longer what are you doing in class. This is what are you doing for fun. And what they want to know is, what did you do in high school or are doing in high school? And what are you thinking of doing once you get to college? And so it's just a click of a button. So instrumental music, were you in band or orchestra in high school? If you were, click high school. Do you think you want to do it in college? If so, click college. If not, don't click college. It's as easy as that. Varsity athletics. Were you in varsity athletics in high school? If you were, click it. If you want to play sports in college, not intramural sports, but like be on the college's team, then you would click college. Racial or ethnic groups. So there are groups that come together and celebrate the culture and connect people from the same types of backgrounds and just kind of celebrate who they are and support who they are. If you participated in those types of organizations in high school, you click the box. If you want to do them in college, click the box. Same way with student government. If you did it in high school, click it. If you didn't, don't click it. Same way with college. I want to do it in college, click it. You don't want to do it in college, don't click it. Vocal music, trust me, vocal music, you do not want to hear me sing. No way. Some of you amazing voices. You decide. You just click if you did it and if you still want to do it. And then the same way with political organizations. If you participated in high school, click. If you want to participate in college, click. And then it keeps on going. Publications, radio, TV, debate, school or community service organizations, drama, theater, fraternity, sorority, or other social clubs, religious organizations, and then ROTC. We have some terrific JROTC programs out there. So if you want to do ROTC in college, you can indicate that too. So again, this one's super simple. Financial aid. This one we need to talk about a little bit. This page is not going to tell colleges that they need to send you scholarship money. This is just kind of picking your brain about what you're thinking and what you may be considering. Once you start applying to college, you're going to do a document called FAFSA. It's called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. That is the formal notice to the college that you're interested in student assistance or financial assistance to pay for college, and getting their institutional scholarships. This document that you're doing for the ACT is not that. So you can do best guesses and estimates. It's not going to hurt anything. So I expect to apply for financial aid to help pay for college expenses, yes or no. And again, there's no wrong answers. So if you expect that you're going to ask for some help to pay for college, you click yes. If you don't think you're going to ask for help to pay for college, you click no. No big deal. Just a reminder, this is the type of information that is going to go to those organizations that I mentioned before under that educational opportunity service. And so some of those are like student loan organizations. So they'll be looking for that. Anybody who clicked yes on this, let us know so we can send them information about how we can help them pay for college. So those types of things. This one right here, I want you to talk to your parents about or guardians about how they want you to respond. This is please estimate the approximate total combined income of your parents, and they should have put or guardians, before taxes last year. I do not know under this drop-down box if there is a prefer not to respond option. I would assume so. If your parents want you to use that, use it. If there isn't one and they don't want you to respond, skip it. If there isn't that and it won't let you skip it, I would pick the lowest one that's there. But if they say no, go ahead and respond and they'll give you that information, that's fine. But I do want you to talk to your parents and go with their guidance with whatever they tell you, how they want you to respond. It really is not going to impact your scholarships and financial aid or anything like that. Other documents coming later when you're a senior, that's where that information becomes critical. I expect to work while attending college and would like help finding employment. So again, some of those organizations under that employment educational opportunity service may have employment options for students. So if you think you might want a part-time job while going to college, you would click yes. If you don't think you're going to work, you would click no. There's not a wrong answer. I prefer to attend college within a maximum yearly tuition, which is not including room and board. So tuition is just how much you're paying the college for the right to go to their school. And it covers, typically covers just the right to go to school and some fees and such. Tuition is usually not books. Books are separate. So it's, and it does not cover room and board either. Room and board is separate. Tuition is just, hey, I'm going to come to your school and here, I'm going to pay you money for the privilege of going to your school. That's tuition. And so this drop-down box is going to give you some ranges of what that maximum tuition, what is the cap that you and your parents are putting on. I am not going to spend $10 million per year for you to go to school. I hope not, please. I don't think there's any college that charges that, but you may want to talk to your parents and talk about what is that tuition cap. And then, but if you're going to work, if you said yes up here, about how many hours per week do you think you would want to work at your part-time job? So that's what that's all about. And then this one may be a little tricky to answer because you're juniors and you may not even thought about this, although some of you may know exactly what you want to major in. So the first one is, What is your college major? What are you planning on majoring in? What is going to be your primary area of study in college? And it gives you 2 boxes. So this first one should be this is the one I am after. This is the one that is the most important to me. And this could be like a subgroup of that. So you can see this one is English and foreign languages with a public speaking kind of emphasis to it. And so this is the big thing, and then this is this thing kind of underneath what that big major is. If you don't know, that's okay. If you have general ideas or things you're thinking about, you can put it in there. Identify your occupation, or what is the career? What is the job you want to do? So this person put engineering, and they want to do engineering in the agricultural bioengineering field. So that's what this is. If you don't know, that's okay. If you got some ideas in mind, put it there. Again, this is all going to go under that educational opportunity service thing, so that people can be sending information about their professional organization. What is the highest level of education you expect to obtain? Are you just going to go to get your bachelor's degree and stop there? That's fine. If that's what you need to enter the career field that you want to go into, that's okay. Are you planning on going on to the next degree level, which would be a master's degree? That's fine. Are you going to go and get your doctorate in education? That's what I have. You're going to get your doctorate in whatever field. That's okay as well. Whatever fits you, that's how you're going to respond. And how sure of you about this major? Are you, like, I had one student one year who, coming in as a freshman, he knew he was going to be a meteorologist. That was what he was going to study. He committed to it. And he is now a meteorologist in Texas, Tyler, Texas. And he followed through. He knew it. He knew it all 4 years. That is very rare. So if you are undecided, that's okay, but it kind of gives you a range. So whatever you put here, if you're fairly sure, if you're very sure, that's it. If you're fairly sure, it's kind of, yeah, I think so, but I'm not 100%, or I'm not sure at all. I put it, but I put it, just put something. So you pick your box that fits you, and then the same way with the career that you chose. How sure are you? And then needs and interests. So this over here is all about improving your skills. Like, do you want help improving skills? So making educational and occupational choices, expressing your ideas in writing, improving reading speed and comprehension, study skills, and math. Do you want any help with any of those? If you do, you would click the boxes. And then if you are interested in enrichment or accelerated programs at college, so independent study, meaning taking classes outside of a formal structured classroom, or first year honors classes, you want to be in honors classes as a freshman in college, or study in another country. So there are study abroad programs at many schools. If you're interested in any of those, you would click the boxes. And then which best describes your religious affiliation? I would be very surprised if they did not have the option in there that says I prefer not to respond. So that is an option if you don't want to share your religious affiliation. But if you are, if you do want to share it and that's important to you and you want people to know what your affiliation is, you can go ahead and indicate that. And again, that Educational Opportunity Service, there are some of the organizations that want to, that have programs that support different organizations, different religious affiliations, and provide services and resources for people who identify with particular religious groups. And so that's how they would identify if you fit within their target demographics. So, so that, again, answer that how you would like. We are getting there. I promise we are getting there. All right, this is going to be about what type of college you want to go to. So are you going to be a full-time or part-time student? What type of college, do you plan on attending? I prefer to attend the following type of college: public, private. There's, a couple of different options in there. You'll see them when you get into the drop downs. And then size of the student body. Do you want to go to a big college? Do you want to go to a small college? What type of setting do you want it to be in? So kind of, again, you don't have to have the decision made, but just kind of have these types of things kind of running through your mind. Do you want to live far away from, I currently live about this far away from the college I expect to attend. So if you want to stay in Nashville, then it's just going to be a few miles. If you want to get out of Nashville, it might be more miles. Totally up to you. Where are you at that continuum? And let's see. Oh, where do you plan to live? So are you going to live on campus? Are you going to live at home? Are you going to live off campus? Those types of things, like rent an apartment. This box right here, you are going to number these things in order of importance for when you identify where you want to go to school. So type of institution, male, female composition of the student body. Are you interested in having a balance? Do you want to go to an all male or all female student population school? Do you want to, does it matter? Location, is that the most important? Tuition, is that most important? Size of the campus, is that most important? Field of study, whatever one of these is the most important, you're going to rank that number one. And then you'll set that one aside and figure out what is the second most important item out of that list. Rank that one number 2. Then what is the third most important? Rank that one number 3. You go all the way through all 7 of them, where number 7 is like, I don't care. This is last and least important to me, and you'll make that one number 7. All right, where should you send your scores? You should send them somewhere. So you get to send 4 score reports, 4 official score reports to schools, universities, or if you're a student athlete, to the NCAA. You get to send them for free, 4 of them for free. If you say, I want to wait and see my scores before I send them, if you do that, then it's going to cost you money. If you do it at the time of the test, it does not cost you money. You only get 4 for free, though. You can't send them everywhere for free. You only get 4. And so this page is where you will be able to enter them. And so it will give you a way to click through and find the schools and identify which ones that you want to have them sent to. And it will pop up down here where it says you do not have any score recipients. It will list the schools that you identify. And so I think it will give you categories in this drop-down box, and you can start narrowing it down and then identify exactly which school that is. And then, do you want your parents to be notified about your information and such? Talk to your parents. I know juniors and seniors don't want their parents mixing into anything. A lot of juniors and seniors, it's like, no, I can do this on my own. I got it. I'm going to tell you, it gets overwhelming because you're trying to juggle all these pieces of information from all these different places, and it will be helpful to have a parent or guardian help, if nothing else, help keep you organized. I don't want them making your decision, but just helping you figure out, okay, this stuff goes with this school and to make this decision on this deadline. So having a parent or guardian notified about this information and about your scores and such is always a good idea. So if you do that, you only get one. You have to, don't tell your parents you're picking your favorite one. You don't have to go there because that could be kind of weird at dinner time. But pick one of your parents or guardians, enter their first name, last name, and very, very carefully enter their email address because you want that email address to be accurate. Otherwise, they won't get anything because then the email is wrong. So be very careful on the email address. Read through the terms and conditions. You've seen this before when you signed up for other online things. Once you read and understand them, click I understand, and then you will finally be done. This is the screen that says, congratulations, you got this all done, you're set up. If you feel like you have not had enough screen time, you can go in and do some plans. This is where you can do inventories and so forth. So where does all this information get used? Well, this is what a ACT's college score report looks like. And I'm going to go through this really quickly. So when I said official score report, this is what the college gets. So this is for a student that only took the ACT once. If they took it more than once, you can request that a super score be sent. This is where they take your highest math score, your highest science score, your highest English, and your highest reading, and then average those highest scores and calculate a new composite score. It's if you take it more than once and you have scores all over the place, they only calculate an average using those highest subscores. This student only took it once. There's only one set of scores here. So this is the composite score. This composite score is the average of the math, the science, the English, and the reading. That's how you get a composite score. So this student got a 21. Their math score was a 19. Their science score was an 18. Those two averaged together gave a STEM score of 19. Those of you that can do math in your head in a hurry are going, wait a minute. An average of an 18 and a 19 is actually an 18 and a half. How did they get a 19? ACT always rounds up. Even if this had come out to be like an 18.3, they would round up. So it doesn't fit all the rules of rounding, but they round up. So that's where the 19 came from. English score of 24, reading score of 23. There is no writing score. ACT does have a writing test, but it is optional. There are precious few schools that require or even ask for a writing score. I would recommend not signing up for that. We are not offering the writing score on March 1st. You will not take that on March 1st. If you find one of those precious few schools that requires the writing score, you will have to take the ACT on what's called a national test date, which is a Saturday. And there's actually an extra fee to do the writing test. And you write an essay, basically. It's a timed essay. If the student had taken the writing portion, there would have been an ELA score here, which is a combination of their English, reading, writing score, and they come up with an ELA score. Since there's no writing, there's no ELA score. Down here, these little purple dots, these are the college readiness benchmarks. And what that means is if you hit that benchmark, that indicates you have a 50% or greater likelihood of getting a B or better in your first year college class. ACT's done a lot of research around this, and these are the benchmarks that they came up with. So for math, it's a 22. So if you get a 22 or better, you have a 50% or greater likelihood of getting a B in your first year college math class. And for science, it's 23. If you're a STEM student, so if you're going into engineering, if you're going into medicine, if you're going into any of those STEM types of, computer science, that readiness benchmark is a 26. So you need to push these math and science scores up really high. But again, this is a likelihood. It doesn't ace you out of anything. This is just a likelihood of getting a B or better. For English, the benchmark is an 18, and for reading, it's a 22. And if you've been in any of the other webinars, you've heard us mention those. And then these boxes are where the student scores are. That doesn't tell you where all this other stuff shows up that you entered. I'm getting there. This section over here just tells the student, it tells the colleges what percent of the questions you got right within each subject area. So for math, there's all these reporting categories. It tells them what percent of the questions you got correct within each of those categories. I'm going to send these out to the ACT teachers and the ACT leads at each one of our high schools, so then they can share them with the teachers and give you time to look at these in more detail. This is the second page of the college report. This is where all that other data goes that you just entered. So your college choices right here, types of colleges right here. The college selection, remember that ranking I told you, the 1st through the 7th, that information is right here. What you consider to be most important through what you consider to be least important. Your high school information, where did you rank, what's your GPA, the size of your class, all of that's right here. All of your academic information, the 4 years of English, the 4 years of math, the 3 years of social studies, what grades did you get, and did you take advanced coursework? That's all right here. All those extracurricular things that you entered, yes and no, for a high school or college, that's right here on the college report. And then all of that background information and all of that academic information, all the financial aid information, all right here on that college report. So in addition to that educational opportunity program, it also goes on to the official score report that gets sent to colleges. With that, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to look at the chat and see if there are any questions, or you can come off from mute, and then I can answer any questions that you may have. So let me get this closed out. Thank you. I see. I love the IB course. Yes, IB courses. I loved IB too. I loved being at the IB high school that I was at too. I thought that was really cool. I've heard the same things about the Cambridge courses being very engaging too. All right, that was a ton of information, just a ton. Do you have questions about any of it or need any clarification? You're welcome to come off your mute or put it in the chat. Okay, I don't see anybody typing and I don't hear anybody coming off from mute. Okay, you are very welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I hope this was helpful. When you get to the point of filling this out, I hope being familiar with it makes it a whole lot less confusing and overwhelming. We have one more webinar yet to go next week. We're going to do some tips and hints, some general things, what to bring, how to prepare, and just some last minute reminders on how to approach each one of the subject areas. Hope to see you there next week. You have a good rest of your day. Thanks for coming.